Welcome to Faith on Film. I'm Isaac Hernandez.
I'm Holly McClure.
And Holly, we have just a fully packed show today, don't we?
We really do. We're going to talk about movies, and we got a special guest.
We do. We have a special guest, and he'll be on shortly. But first, let's talk about what you are the best expert at, and that is what's going on in Hollywood. What are we talking about today?
We think people need to know, and they may have already seen this movie, but it's getting a lot of flack. I'm talking about one of my favorite guys on the screen right now. I love Liam, and it's Thor. Okay, but this is a different Thor.
Is it your favorite movie because it's a great movie, or is it your favorite movie because of that guy?
It's not my favorite movie, but it's my favorite character.
Okay.
I love Thor. I love the very first one he did, and even the second, but it's getting a little dicey as it changes directors. And let's look at why.
Here we go.
I know your pain. Your suffering. You've lost. Yet God protect them.
Gods of the universe, I come here to raise an army. Today, we'll go down in history.
How exciting.
Today, we'll fight!
I'm gonna kill this guy.
Spoken like a true Thor.
This ends here and now!
I'm counting on that.
Marvel Studios' Thor: Love and Thunder.
Wow.
A lot of thunder, a little bit of love. Okay, the thing is, like I said, I just love Liam Hemsworth, and so I love the character of Thor. And this is Greek mythology. I mean, so you have to take it tongue in cheek, okay? Nobody take this seriously when they're talking about gods and things. But of course, the premise is is that there is a gourd which is going to kill all gods. That's, Christian Bale plays this dark, evil character, and something happened to him where he lost his child, so he wants revenge, so he gets the power of a sword that will destroy all gods. So he goes after, it's going to be Hercules and Zeus and Thor. It's those kind of Greek gods that he goes after. And so this is how Thor is going to fight against this character. The director is It's Taika Waititi. It's a very New Zealand name. And he's the one that plays the Rock character. So if you hear his little voice in the Rock character, he's the director. This is his second time he did Ragnarok, so he's doing this one. And he's funny. He's kind of campy. They love what he did with Ragnarok, so I thought, let's do it again. But the thing is, there's some questionable things in here. Okay, now, again, parents, I'm just giving you what's in here. I'm giving you what's in there so that you know, so you can discern for yourself if it's questionable or not, all right? And I'm going to do a couple of spoilers. So, well, one big spoiler. So if you don't want to hear this, I'm sorry, but I feel I need to do it because it's raised a lot of problems in the press, and it's getting it's getting, people protesting it. One of the things is a simple little reference to how are rock babies made, and his character says, well, there's two male rocks and they get together and a baby rock falls out, and that's how it's done. So he refers to two male rocks producing a baby rock, which is his character. There's another Valkyrie character, female. She looks over at a woman and again gives her the eye and the look like, flirting with her, just to look, but it's there. And then there is the an emotional pivotal point that I don't think they really thought it would be for some people, but boy, is it getting a lot of response. And that is that Jane, who they bring back as the female Thor, Jane, the reason she becomes that is because she has terminal cancer. And she is getting, in there, getting fed through the tubes and getting her medication. And they're talking about how she's dying. And she makes her way to go look at the monument in the city that has the remnants of Thor's hammer and how it was busted. And there's pieces that come together. And she touches that and she becomes Thor when she has that hammer and when she's in character. And then when she's not, she's dying of cancer. So she knows that she has a limited time to live. And this is the secret she keeps from Thor. He sees her again. He never lost his love for her. That's the comedy part. He like says exactly how many years and days. But, you know, aside from her chemo that she's not getting now that she has the hammer, she still is slowly dying. So there is a death of Jane, and that's sad. And yet, if parents, you'll wait through all the credits for the 2 end credits, we see Jane, and she's in another place, Valhalla. And so the story may not be over. Okay, I know I spoiled it for some people, but I want you to know this because this is what the movie has in it. And if you don't think your little ones, you know, can understand this, or it's appropriate, or you're sensitive because you've lost a loved one to cancer or whatever, that's the flack that they're getting back now of people who've seen it.
Okay, let me go back to this whole 2 male rocks, creating little baby rocks. Throughout this COVID pandemic that we just went through, everybody kept saying, believe the science, believe the science, believe the science. But science tells us that it takes a male and a female to create another, well, in our case of humans, another human being. In the case of animals, a male and a female to create another animal. And now we're not supposed to believe the science when it comes to 2 male rocks, or for that matter, 2 male anythings?
Well, it is entertainment, right? and it is about Thor, so this isn't real. Okay. And I mean, isn't there, there's some male species, I think, that create their own in science. Okay, anyway, but here's the deal. Here's what bothers me, Isaac, is we heard, because what is it? Is it seahorses? Don't they create their own? They don't
there is one animal that, yeah.
I mean, like, you know, let's just try. Okay, but here's the deal. We just had recently on TV in investigations in Washington, and I don't know if you saw it, but I saw it where this person who's supposedly an official professor from university, Harvard or somewhere, says, well, you know, now you can't just say women have babies because now men can have babies and trans can have babies and other can have babies. And there was a senator that said, so you're telling me that men can have babies? She goes, don't you believe that? And he said, no. She says, then you're transphobic. And so they're trying to label that if you don't believe. Well, even if men could have a baby, men can't make men have babies. You're still going to have a female in there. So kind of to your point, Isaac. So we are getting this subliminal cultural push from Hollywood that's subliminally putting in there, oh, and men can do this and men do that, and you have babies. And we saw the person from Disney say, whenever we can put it in, we're going to put it into movies. Whenever we can get it in there, we're going to get in there. We heard them proclaim this. So we are seeing little by little by little into scripts and stories, this subliminal suggestion. And that's what irritates me. And that's why I want to call it out.
Yeah.
And if you love it and you believe in it, great. That's your option. This is what movies are for. You can go and you can enjoy it and you can love it. But if you're a parent so a friend called me recently and said, my daughter is going to take her boys, should she go see Thor? And I told her about these things. And she goes, thank you for telling me. She won't want to go see that because she's protecting her children, her boys that are, 10 and 12. She's protecting them right now from not wanting to be influenced in movies about the trans and the whole gay thing. So, there's some parents that matters to them.
Sure.
And like I said, then they're getting the whole other flack about the cancer. They kind of treated it lightly. Oh, she's dying and she has chemo and she's getting chemo. Oh, she becomes Thor. Oh, she's going to die. Well, so I just think people need to be aware. But it is funny. There are some funny scenes. Russell Crowe does not look like Russell Crowe. It took me a minute. Literally, I was watching him going, he looks so familiar, but he's kind of fat. Oh my gosh, that's Russell Crowe. It literally took me a while to figure out. And it's kind of sad. He's not in his gladiator form. Let me put it that way.
I wonder if he did that just for this movie or if he's just getting that way already and it just fit the character.
He did 2 takes. The takes he did were 2 different accents because he wanted to see Russell Crowe do it. And it's this flaming Zeus character. Again, a flaming Zeus character. That's not in mythology what we picture Zeus as, nor is it his character, but that's what he made him in this movie. And he has orgies, and they talk about the orgies, but you don't see it. So again.
Yeah, because I was okay, now wait a minute. We never mentioned that part a little while ago.
You never see anything; they just talk about it, but it's referenced. So your 7-year-old might say, "What's an orgy?" And that's why it's rated PG-13, and that's why you don't take children 6 and 7 to a PG-13. And parents heed the rating, heed the warning. They give it to you. Heed the rating.
And that is why we have these segments now on Faith on Film, because we want people to know what's there so they can make wise choices, right?
Choose your movies wisely.
That's right. Well, guess what? Let's shift now and talk about a faith-based movie, because I can't handle it.
Let's do that.
We have a great guest on today. And first, let's take a look at the trailer to his latest movie. And then when we come back, we'll get to talk to him a little bit and find out what he's all about, all right?
Let's do.
Again?
Yeah.
I'm making an appointment.
His name is Dr. Haja. He's from Indonesia, I think. And he's an internist. Best in the field, according to Entertainment Tonight.
Entertainment Tonight?
You are Dr. Haja? No, that's me!
I'm Daniel Adams.
Daniel, there's a good chance you have a terminal illness that could result in death in a short period of time.
So, Danny, you're going to die?
Hi, Mom.
Who died?
What? Why would you say that?
You come to see me in the middle of a weekday, no phone call, no gift. What else could it be?
I'm doing a new workout program. Don't want to die before my time.
We're good, right?
We are from the Church of Jesus Christ of Modern-Day Saints.
I just got home from work and I'm really not feeling that good right now.
We just wanted to make sure you were good with God.
So, hypothetically, if you were to die, let's say in 3 weeks.
3 weeks?
Are you sure that when you die, you're going to be with God? Well, I didn't know if it was any different for you, being that you guys have your own book and all. Lord, I haven't asked you for much in my life, but I'm asking now, please, see me, feel me, touch me, heal me. Wait, that's a song from The Who. Scratch that.
That's funny.
Oh my goodness, Robert!
That's
Robert.
funny. I love that.
and there's lots of funny. I saw the movie. There's lots of funny moments in there. Robert, let me give you
the modern day saints. The modern day saints. I love that line.
Robert, let me give you an introduction here. You're of course an award-winning filmmaker. You've been making feature films from Chicago, I guess, since 2003. Your past films include Angels in Our Midst, Heavens to Betsy 2, and now, of course, Honest to God. Now, Robert, and I want to get your name right. Robert Alaniz. How do I say that?
Alaniz.
Alaniz. Yeah, I'm always messing up names, but
you're wrong both times.
I don't feel as bad because Holly just messed one up earlier today, so I'm in good company.
Well, thanks for pointing that out.
Yeah. Hey, whatever it takes to make me feel a little bit better. Robert, again, welcome to Faith on Film. So this obviously is a comedy movie. Are all your movies comedic movies?
Well, no, actually, I've Honest to God is actually my 10th film, and my first, I think 4 or 5 were basically dramas. I decided to go with comedy probably on a movie I did called Dinks, Double Income, No Kids, and kind of had a lot of audience response to that. And it's funny because I never really wanted. I was always afraid to write comedy because. I never considered myself funny, and my wife told me, "Nah, you don't want to write comedy. No one's going to laugh." And so I wrote this comedy, Dinks, Double Income, No Kids, and we showed it at the premiere, and the entire audience was laughing throughout the whole film. So I thought, well, this must be my niche. So I'm going to kind of continue on, and I did. I went from that to. Heavens to Betsy 1 and 2, and then Honest to God, and a couple, prior to that weren't faith-based movies.
Well, taking the theme of being sick and possibly having a terminal illness and making it funny, that's a big challenge. Is there any real experience you had with that, or did you just feel like you needed to take a subject that is a heavy subject we're all dealing with these days and kind of put some levity to it?
Well, all of my movies, every single one has is based on personal experiences or my own personal beliefs. Foremost, I think I'm a writer more than a director and producer. I mean, I've done just about everything there is, but I think mostly my writing is personal. And honest to God, was based on a real experience I had where a few years ago, they found a lump in my throat. And it took forever for me to get a doctor's appointment and for them to finally tell me whether it was benign or cancerous. So in the time period between the diagnosis, I was going crazy. I was just thinking everything that I thought I was going to die, and I thought, I've got so much time left. Maybe I should check and see the running times and all of my Blu-rays to see if I could watch them all before I die. Really crazy things like that. And then once I found out it was okay, and I had the surgery and I had it removed, I thought, this is probably God's way of saying, look, here's another funny thing, because there was a lot of spirituality involved in what was going on, because I was afraid to die. And as a Christian, you're not supposed to be afraid to die. And I was. And then I started, questioning things and, doing the things that I think everybody does when they're in that kind of situation. And even to the point where I even invited Mormons into my house just to sit down and talk with them and see if their point of view was different from the Bible. And I don't know, I was just going crazy. So I just thought I'd make a funny movie.
What was can I just ask this? Because in doing this movie, is it mostly for adults? Is it teens? Would you rate it at PG-13 because the subject matter? I mean, is there an age range that you can advise our audience of who would most appreciate this?
Boy, I don't know. The distributor, which is Bridgestone Multimedia Group, and they're a pretty popular distributor of Christian films, they read the script, and I was waiting for some kind of comment about things, because, there are some jokes and comedy that revolves around, the Mormons, although I don't make fun of them, and around the situation with Daniel and his mother and their misunderstanding of what he's trying to tell her. I don't want to give too much away on that. But, I never really thought it was PG. Well, I guess PG-13 is okay, because it does have a little bit more of the adult humor than, say, Heavens to Betsy, which was really, really, really I think, a G-rated film. Both of them were.
This movie, and again, I did see it recently, kind of really touched me a little bit, because I recently went through a situation, not where I knew that or thought I was going to die in a few weeks, but where when I was in emergency, the doctor said, you know what, it's a good thing we got it right now, because you potentially could have died. And it just got me thinking a little bit, wow, and not that I was afraid of dying, but did I do what I needed to do before dying? So when I watched the movie, I began to really think about that. And I thought, even though maybe I'm not going to die in the next few weeks or months or years, I don't really know when, but maybe I should start living my life like I don't know when I will die, and make sure that I do the things that I believe need to be done. So it did have a special place in my heart for me.
And what's funny, Isaac, is when I read on Facebook that you had to go in for that surgery, I had the same thing happen to me right after we went into pre-production for Honest to God. I had an emergency appendectomy, and this was after the throat incident. And I had the same thing happen. I was rushed to the hospital. This was at the peak of COVID. I went in, I went straight to surgery. And once the next thing I know, I wake up the next morning and the doctor is sitting there on the end of the bed, and he's like, you are so lucky to be here, because your appendix had burst probably a week ago, and your body was filled with sepsis.
Wow.
And he said, by all means, you should be dead. you should be dead. We were very, very lucky that we were able to do what we did. So I as soon as I read that, I said, wow, we're going to have something to talk about.
Yes. And also in doing this film in more of a serious nature, but also some funny scenes, what was your favorite scene and what scene touched you the most? Like even as a director and someone who wrote it, what touched you?
You know, I think first of all, there's two scenes because again, you're right. This is a comedy, and it's got some really serious, dramatic moments. So I would have to say my favorite comedic moment has got to be the prayer when Daniel who's an insurance salesman, is bargaining with God as to, okay, I'll give this much money at church for the offering. Well, maybe let me see how I'm doing that week. I don't know. Every time I watch that, it just cracks me up, even though I know I wrote it. And then I'd have to say dramatically, I think at the end of the movie, and I don't want to give it away, but there is a very serious moment that takes place in the church regarding the character Betsy and Daniel. That is to me, a very powerful scene, and it's the kind of scene where I sit back and go, did I write that? I thought, that's actually pretty good, and I have to contribute. I always, give the glory to God, because sometimes I write stuff and He inspires me, and sometimes I think He even writes through me, and sometimes I watch what I've written after I've directed it and put it together, and I don't even remember writing it. And I think, wow, that's pretty poetic. That's pretty nice. And then I it's like I don't know if it was me that wrote it. It's very strange, but God was a strong influence. As a matter of fact, I call Him the producer of this movie, because without Him, it never would have been made. It is truly a miracle that this film was finished, because of all the things with COVID that we had to go through. Right. I had this emergency appendectomy. One of my co-producers died. Another producer had a heart attack. The entire crew and cast went into shutdown because of COVID. I lost my lead actor. I called the movie off halfway through and said, I'm sorry. I sent an email out to everybody, says, I'm sorry, we can't do it. So I just prayed, and I just said to God, I said, if this is going to happen, I need your help. You have to produce this movie. You have to put things in the right place, and I will follow. And that's exactly what happened. Exactly. Every time an opportunity came, something was placed there. And I'm a strong believer in divine intervention.
Yes.
It was not my doing. It was like all of a sudden, oh, okay, we could do this. We could do that. The cast volunteered, look, don't worry about paying me.
My gosh.
We'll talk about money later, because our finances were really, really, shot. If I told you how much money we shot this film for, you would not believe it. It was not free, okay, by no means. It was, but I think it adds a new
appreciation.
A new appreciation of the term micro budget.
And inspiring other
filmmakers. Micro for that matter.
Right. And inspiring other filmmakers to say, look, if God's got a hand in it, anything can be done. What a testimony you have.
Absolutely. And I am so overwhelmed that it happened. I still can't believe I'm sitting here talking to you, and people are watching it. It's over 50,000 views on Encourage TV's YouTube channel. I mean, and it's only been out for 14 days.
Oh my gosh.
I'm just like, blown away by it.
Where can people see it?
Well, you can see it. Isaac, I don't know. Where did you see it, Isaac?
I went to Encourage TV. Now, I did it just by going to their website, but you can also go to their channel on YouTube, right?
Right. You could do it that way. Encourage TV, of course, is number one. They're the distributor. And then there's YouTube. I also heard it was on Tubi, something called Roku, which I'm not familiar with. It is on Amazon Prime, but I believe you have to pay to watch it there.
Good. I'm on Amazon Prime. I can see it. Yay.
Yeah. And then there's a DVD available, of course. It's been out for a couple months now. So I haven't heard from the distributor yet, but I'm pretty sure it's doing pretty well.
That's awesome. Now, you did say that you've made some secular movies, but your last 4 movies have been Christian movies. Is that because you feel that God is putting these scripts in your mind? Because you said that technically it's almost like he's writing them.
I can answer that real easy, and I've been kind of rehearsing this in my head because I'd watched one of your shows where you had the two guys on who were twins and also were Christian filmmakers. And the answer to that is real easy. I've always felt God's influence in my creativity. I'm a strong believer in God-given talent. I don't believe that just anybody can do it. I'm sorry, but I know anybody can grab a camera, anybody can write a script, anybody can do it, but can you write a good one? And it seems like when digital technology took over, it seems like everybody's making movies. But the truth of the matter is it a good movie? Is it an entertaining movie? So when I first started doing films, which I started doing films a long time ago in the 70s, but back then it was nearly impossible because I did Super 8 sound movies because I couldn't afford 16 millimeter. But then in 2001 I wrote my first movie, Time Server, which is a time travel movie, which was a big mistake because writing a time travel movie for your first film after several years of not writing was not a very good idea. But basically, getting back to your question, Isaac, what happened was I've always felt that God had, that I was supposed to use this ability. But what happened was I think the first 4 or 5 films I did, I was more or less doing them for myself. I was thinking about Hollywood. I was thinking about success. I was thinking about, personal gain. And something happened when I did a movie called Mind Over Mindy, where I had a possible deal with Warner Brothers for $5 million. And I thought that this was like my big break. And, we were going to end up going to Hollywood, or I was going to go to Hollywood or get some attention there. And what happened was it all fell through. It turned out to be a con job. And the money was wasted, and the movie almost never got done. I was able to finish it, but just by the skin of my teeth. But afterwards, there was a conversation I had with my wife, because my wife also said, I believe God is bringing you down this path. God has given you all these opportunities to make movies. Why would God give you this great opportunity with Warner Brothers and everything, and then have it pulled out from underneath you? And I said, well, maybe that's because God just doesn't want that. Maybe that's not what this is all about. Maybe I'm supposed to be making movies for him. And right at that moment in time, I felt, I'd like to say the Holy Spirit filled me and said, this is your next movie. You are going to write a story about somebody who wants fame and fortune and doesn't get it and blames God for it. And then God gives it to them and shows them what would happen if they got what they wanted. And there is Heavens to Betsy. And that's the plot. So it was, and from that point on, after Heavens to Betsy, I realized that I'm supposed to be doing it for the Lord, not for myself. And that's where I am.
Amen. Well, thank you for sharing your story with us today. And folks, don't forget, it's Honest to God is his latest movie. And you can watch that on Encourage TV. Just look for Encourage TV, look for Honest to God. I'm sure you'll find a way to watch it.
Robert, I love your testimony. I love your testimony and the movie as well. I look forward to seeing it. Thank you so much for being with us today.
You're welcome, and thank you for having me.
You bet. And folks, don't forget, you can write us at faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. That's faithonfilmtv@gmail.com. Holly, thank you for your insight into Hollywood as well today. And Robert, thank you for being with us today.
You're welcome. Glad to be here.
Folks, see you next week.